Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, we got a lot of news out there. Obviously, the transfer portal is the biggest thing that's going on, but we also have some folks declaring for the NFL draft, and the first of which that's kind of a big one in the SEC is Will Levis. It appears he's going to go ahead and enter the draft, which makes a lot of sense. We're going to get into that. Then we've got a fifth Vol that's entered the portal, a tight end, and we'll get into that story as well. And this is breaking today. It says Will Levis will enter the NFL draft. I don't know if he's going to play in that bowl game or not. We'll see. They're calling him a potential top 5 pick. And a lot of people think he's going to go like as the 4th quarterback, which means, you know, that'll definitely be top 10 because, you know, quarterbacks are at a premium. Mel Kiper, again's got him as the 4th highest rated one. One spot behind Ohio State C.J. Stroud and one spot ahead of Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. You got to be kidding me. Now, Will Levis was a lot better last year when he didn't have that bad foot. Now, that kind of changed his game because really scrambling and running the ball is something that Will Levis likes to do, and it's a big part of his game. Unfortunately for him, this year he got hurt, and he had to become a stationary quarterback, and he got nailed a bunch, okay? He got hit a bunch. And when you take away that ability to run, a lot of people can pin their ears back and go after you. So he lost a very important weapon, and he just toughed it out because, look, Kentucky needed him even if he was, 70%. But there's no way you put him ahead of Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a magician. I mean, that guy is so good, it's ridiculous, and he should be the very first pick in the draft, in my opinion. And I wouldn't even consider Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, or any other quarterback if Bryce Young is on the board. And it says Levis started at Penn State, wound up at Kentucky. He's a big dude. You know, he's 6'3", 230. And like I say, last year he looked fantastic. He ran for 9 touchdowns, threw for 24, almost 3,000 yards. But then, like I said, he got this toe injury, and he ran for minus 107 yards. So that's 400 yards difference, and only 19 touchdowns, and he had a bunch of interceptions. He just was not the same player with that injury. And look, he almost beat us last year, and he was tough. He's mentally pretty tough. He's a gamer. So, you know, the fact that he played hurt doesn't surprise me in the slightest. He thinks he's tougher than he is. He tried to run the ball once against us, and one of our big linemen, I think it was Omari Thomas, just absolutely nailed him. And he was not the same after that play. He did not look right. I think it messed up his shoulder, and he was already limping around a little bit, and then his shoulder got hurt, and he was just like, I think he kind of knocked him a little bit clueless. So Kentucky will be looking for another quarterback, and they've really relied on him in the last 2 years, so they're going to have to find one. And I think he'd be crazy to stay another year. Look, if you're going to go in the top 10 as far as a pick and risk injury if you stay at Kentucky and not go take those tens of millions of dollars, you'd be crazy.
Logical.
That's right. Spock knows. If you listen to Spock, you'll do a lot better, Will. And Tennessee just had a 5th player announce that he'll be entering the transfer portal, tight end Miles Campbell. And he has not played a whole lot. He was a 3-star recruit. He's 6'3", 235, and he made it clear on Twitter that he would be entering the transfer portal. He's a redshirt freshman. He's got 3 years of eligibility left, and he joins 2 other receivers, Jimmy Holiday and Jimmy Callaway, and also 2 running backs, Whitehead and Williams Thomas. So that's our 5th player that's entering the portal. And look, you can't blame these guys. They're not getting to play. You know, they're 3- and 4-star players. They were the best player in their high school. Nobody can understand why they're not playing because they were the best player in their whole area, you know, and they're not getting to play. So they're frustrated. And the coach may even had a talk with them and said, you know, there's probably not going to be a lot of playing time for you, so you might want to go elsewhere. And that makes a lot of sense. So I know that there are going to be some people that get mad at them and, you know, throw a lot of shade at them and do that kind of stuff, which is not cool. You really shouldn't do that.
Oh, that really hurt. Who throws a shoe? Honestly.
And don't throw shoes either. That's not cool. But look, they just want to go somewhere and play. And what that's going to do is open up a spot for somebody that could possibly help us. And as I've said many times, you know, we're going to need to find speed, which is that wide receiver in Missouri looks like a real possibility. This guy right here, Dominique Lovett of Missouri, he's available. He had a great year. He had about 800 yards worth of receptions. and was the third leading receiver in the SEC, and he would be a real nice pickup. He's probably more of a slot receiver, but he could play wide receiver as well. He's 5'10", got real good speed and great hands, and would be a great third down guy too because he's reliable. So these are the top players the Vols really need to be going for. Let these other guys go and play at other places where they can actually participate. You know, they've spent their whole life working on their skill and their talent level and, you know, getting beat up in practice. They deserve to have an opportunity to play. So,
nobody puts baby in a corner.
So I have no ill will whatsoever for guys entering the transfer portal that aren't getting to play. And think about Missouri. Your best wide receivers entering the transfer portal. That would be, now that's frustrating, very frustrating, because I would hate that if we had one of our starters that was really, really good. Well, I mean, it's basically their best player that enters the transfer portal because he's just not seeing it there at Missouri. He's like, you know, this is not the place to be.
I'm not seeing it here, Lloyd. She must be unlisted.
And I wouldn't be a bit shocked if he's looking hard at the Vols because he knows he's going to get the ball and score a bunch. And he's going to be in the limelight because Tennessee, you know, is a very flashy team. And the media, even though the media kind of hates them, they also love them because they're so exciting. So the wheels are really in motion right now. A lot of things happening. A lot of quarterbacks will be declaring for the draft. A lot of players as well. You know, I'm kind of expecting one of our wide receivers, Hyatt, to declare for the draft at some point. It would make a lot of sense for him to go make that money, but you never know. He might come back. That's fine if he does. That'd be awesome. But he'll probably take the take the millions. And like I say, don't worry about a fifth player entering the transfer portal. Like I said, it's going to happen. There's going to be more. We'll probably have 8 or 10, might even have a dozen. And that's okay. Those guys deserve to get to play somewhere. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and the SEC and all the goings-ons and whatnots. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.